As y'all know, usually we have plenty of NBA content, but hey, we decided to do a little bit things more differently because we gotta watch what get people to the league, and that's the NCAA. And it's March Madness, and there's and a bunch of exciting games that we came here to talk about. So we're gonna do a little bit of a review of what we've seen this far. NBA Central with your boy Steve O, Kev, and Haize. But y'all gotta hear that music first.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
Thank y'all for tuning in for another episode of NBA Central. Once again, like I said, your boy Steve O Speaks, one of your hosts here with Kev and Haize. But let's get straight into it, boys. It's March. As y'all know, I'm pretty sure if y'all made some brackets, it's already busted. It's been a lot of great games over the past week or so. So let's get dive straight into it. The first question I'm gonna ask y'all: who was your guys, or give me at least two to three teams you felt can make it through thus far, and are they still in the tournament? Anybody can
Yeah,
go.
yeah, of course. I felt like UConn was definitely going to make it at least to the Sweet 16. They the defending national champions, and they've been playing great basketball. Houston's been playing really well. As I thought they were in trouble versus Texas A&M, but they pulled it out. And of course, your blue bloods, your Duke. I honestly expected Illinois to make it just to the Sweet 16. I hope they can make it to the Elite Eight / Final Four. But to see them make it to the Sweet 16 is pretty solid too.
Yeah, facts.
For
Ace.
me, definitely Duke. Duke is one that I had that, they have a lot of great talent. They're extremely well coached down there. But then Illinois, let's give some credit to Illinois, man. This is a team that has really good balance. They can score with anybody in the NCAA. And I just like the way that they've played so far. Now, have they had an easier path to get there because they were one of the beneficiaries of one of the first upsets? Yeah, but Illinois played really good so far, man. I love the way that they've been balling out for sure.
Yeah, of course, as y'all know, we're from the city, so Illinois is definitely one of the teams I'm looking at. Of course, you got Terrence Shannon alongside of probably the most well-rounded, all-around team they've had since probably the Ron Williams era. To be
Mm-hmm.
honest,
Yeah.
the Sumu team. So I've been paying attention to this team, and like you said, Kev, I didn't know if we was gonna make it far, but and a lot of us in the city believe that we can make it to the Final Four and beyond. But I do agree that if we have a team, this is the team to make it as far as possible, just because how one round they are. Houston is another team I've been looking for because they just dogs every year. They're well coached. Their guard play is great every year. They played hard nosed defense. They score. The coach there usually let their guards do what they do, and they just play big, play with attitude, play tough. Like you said, they got a little bit to a dog fight last night, but they show as I said, they always show that they're the dogs at the end of it. Um, I wasn't really looking at too many blue bloods because to me, yeah, the the Kentuckies. I mean, to be honest, the Kentucky loss didn't shock me at all because it was just a lot of people on that team that just didn't fit. It was a lot of players like Rob coming off the bench was weird, even though he's probably one of the most talented players on the team. Justin on that team probably should have picked another team. You got the shooter from Chicago transferred there, so it's weird, but I'm not shocked. Duke well coached. They're showing why, but I want to see them against some actual comp. Kansas, they ain't been too much. They still playing like it's 1985. So
They
it is
already
what it
out
is.
too. I was
And
shocked by the
yeah,
Kentucky loss. Man, what happened with the
really?
Kentucky? Yeah, I was against Oakland. Yes, I was absolutely shocked
Yeah.
that they lost to Oakland in the first round. Nobody expected that dude to come in and hit 10 threes. They had to play otherworldly to beat Kentucky. But I agree with what you're saying. I didn't expect them to go to the Final Four, but I definitely didn't expect them to lose to the number 14 seed Oakland. Oh, not even Oakland, California, Oakland, Michigan.
Yeah. And
Oh,
now
bro,
Oakland's facing off
bro.
against
I thought they
North
was in
Carolina
Cali.
State, which is going to be crazy.
You know,
I
that was
thought they was in
Oakland,
Cali.
Michigan.
That's wow. That's wild. That's crazy. But yeah, like I was just paying attention to them. They just one of those teams that's full of talent that don't fit, and that's just a recipe to get beat early. So that's the only reason I expected. You also had, um, I'm trying to. It hasn't really been too many like what do they call
Cinderella.
Cinderella
Yeah.
stories? Like there hasn't really been too many Cinderella. Oakland was that, but they lost the next round. But
Yale
do
was
you
another
have
one.
any Yale? Is there anybody you've been looking at that you can see possibly being that Cinderella story?
NC State. They the last one standing.
Yeah, I definitely like Big Buddy at center down there. I like the way he hoop.
Yeah, I mean they the lowest seeds remaining. Everybody else is top 10 or higher. NC State is 11 seed, and they had the only way they made it to the tournament was by winning the ACC tournament, or
Okay,
they would have been out. So they definitely meet the criteria for a Cinderella.
yeah, as
Yeah, NC
well as
State is
that.
really the only one that really will fit that criteria, right? Like you're looking at,
Yeah,
I would have loved it. Like the fact that ending of that Colorado Marquette game, man, it was crazy because it looked like
man.
there was going to be another one in there, but
Mm-hmm.
Bro, another game, I don't know if you caught it. That Oregon and Creighton game was crazy. But it was more frustrating for me because I seen the exact play to make us lose. It was just like, uh-oh. It's hard to go up against those teams that just well coached. They got size. Like I believe they have a center down there, 7'2". The man, they threw a lob. The man shot it, and it looked like a shot. And he lobbed it and dunked. I was like, oh my goodness. I knew that was an issue.
Well, that's what this tournament is proving right now. That the whole one and done, the whole go get a bunch of freshmen and run out there to kind of run the table or at least attempt to, is not working because of the transfer portal. You got 5th year, 6th year seniors that are playing on these other teams that are showing that, hey, you got to have some vets out here. You got to have some strength out here, and it's kind of disproving the whole notion of how Kentucky has been doing things for the last few years. And so in North Carolina, even though North Carolina's still in it, they've been having dog fights, and playing against Alabama next is not going to be an easy feat. So it makes me wonder about Calipari and Kentucky if they're going to go out and start getting some of these transfer portal students, bigger, seniors and so on, less big names and more glue guys.
well, I think
You
that paired with the NIL is going to change a lot of stuff too. Like you're going to just naturally start seeing players stay in college a little, maybe even an extra year or two. Now that they are going to be able to make money, especially if they have that name recognition around anyway, which is going to help a team like Kentucky. I honestly think Kentucky in the next few years, even if they keep doing things the way they've been doing with recruiting big names, they're going to have deeper teams because some of those names are going to want to stay in college a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like the way the tournament is kind of going, especially the last few years, it's kind of going to build your team through how old your team is. Because the reason why I feel like every team that I feel like has a chance, like UNC, Houston, they're pretty much older teams. They have their teams full of seniors, and yeah, the transfer portal is making that difficult alongside with coaches moving because Nova should be in this tournament, but because they lost their coach, nobody went there no more, and it's hard to keep. And Villanova was spitting out pros that shouldn't even been in the pros, and because they went there and played sound basketball, played within the system, it's the type of thing. So like. I believe it's a stat out there that says the average age of the UNC North Carolina team is like 23
It's
or 23
22.2, and
three.
then in Oklahoma City's 22.6. So they're
It's crazy.
a starting lineup in the NBA is about the same age as the starting lineup for the North Carolina Tar Heels.
That's
It's
crazy.
crazy. It's crazy. So as to this point, who do y'all? It's early, just an early prediction. Who do y'all have it going all the way through and winning the whole thing,
Whew. All the way.
all the way?
Jeez, bro. Like right now, I'm still sticking with UConn just because they're the defending champs, and we haven't had back-to-back champions in the NCAA in a very, very long time. I think in the last 20 years or so, there haven't been any back-to-back champions. So I'll stick with them, but I'm rooting for Illinois to win it all. Who do I want to win it all? Of course, Illinois. But who do I think is going to pull it out? It's going to be UConn, or it could even be one of these high-scoring teams like Alabama or Clemson. Like these guys put points on the board, especially Alabama. I think they have not only the number 1 or top 5 ranked offense in the NCAA, but they also play with pace, like a super duper pace. I think their average possession is less than 15 seconds per possession, which is crazy in college with the 30-second shot clock. So, but I'm going with UConn for now.
He's
I'm gonna go outside the box here. I'm picking Tennessee to win it all.
Okay.
I'm picking Tennessee to win it all.
Hey, that's
I would
one of my
love to see a Tennessee Illinois finals, but I'm picking Tennessee to win it all.
I ain't mad at you.
He's in my. They're in my top 3, and my top 3 in winning because I can't pinpoint one. UConn, Houston, or Tennessee, and Tennessee is one because Dalton is what a junior or senior, and
Mhm.
alongside with the rest of that team is older. They've been playing with each other for a couple years, so I just like the way they hoop. But before we get out of here, I do have one final question. Are any people that's caught your eye in this tournament for the up and coming NBA draft?
Absolutely. Terrence Shannon for sure from Illinois, going back to the Big Ten tournament. Because honestly, Illinois was mid this season up until the tournament. And then it's like they flipped a switch and decided, hey, we're going to let this guy shine. He's giving you 30 points. And honestly, he didn't probably play his way into the lottery the way that
Yeah,
he's been playing. And it upsets me because we already know how the Bulls are. They're not going to have a top 10 pick. They're probably going to have, a low teens, high 20s pick. And with that being said, they probably won't be able to draft him, but I like what I'm seeing from this young guy. He's relentless. He knows how to draw fouls. He knows how to get to the basket, and he'll hit clutch shots. He does not back down. I like what I'm seeing from this guy, and this is the tournament that's putting him in everybody's living rooms. I'm glad to see it too.
I gotta
yeah,
agree with Terrence Shannon Jr. Terrence Shannon Jr. to me is just one of the biggest knocks on him was his 3-point shooting. And he's at least showing right now when it's clutch, he's gonna hit some 3-point shots. Like he's rounding out that part of his game. Is he a volume 3-point shooter? No, but he's hitting it at a decent enough clip. And I just love the way Terrence Shannon Jr. is playing. And if it wasn't for the things outside of basketball going on, everybody would be talking about him as a top 5 to 10 pick. But I think because of all of that, there's a definite possibility that he's gonna fall outside that lottery. We'll see how much they weigh that, but we'll see what happens with that one. But him and Kevin McCullough from Kansas, those guys are the one that I really like
I
a
like
lot.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah, and I,
what you think about Zach Edey real quick, Steve-O, before you go? We talked
I,
about it in the text thread a
you
second ago.
you
Zach Edey's not an NBA player. That's
you
My
just what
you
it
bad. Did I
comes
messed
down
steal
up.
it
to.
You
from you?
messed up. You messed up my whole flow of how I was gonna end this episode.
Oh,
But go
my
ahead.
bad. I didn't
Zach
know.
Go ahead.
Zach Edey's just not an NBA player. He's a damn good college player. Like I think it all comes together by what Kenny Smith said in the halftime of that broadcast. He said that if you draft Zach Edey, you have to be committed to playing 6 minutes in each half of old school basketball. There's
Mhm.
not that many teams that are committed to
And,
doing
and,
that.
and
That
I
specialist of a player, it's not gonna happen for him, bro.
and I got into the same argument with my guy on Twitter. He was like, "Oh, I think he could work. Why wouldn't he work? He big. He can score. Why wouldn't he work?" I'm like, "He's slow. He don't have good feet. His hands are not that good to catch. In case he deny the ball to just throw up and catch, his hands is not that good. He's not that dominant for to not have a reliable shot. He's not that dominant in the post game. Footwork not there. Drop step don't have it. Face up don't have it. There's too many people that's just as big, not terms of always the height wise, but they're just as big, just athletic, and they can move with it. Or he like, well, I don't know. I don't think Joker and Embiid can keep up. I'm like, Joker and Embiid will send his shit.
Yeah, and they can play on the perimeter, and that's not something
Yeah,
that Zach Edey's like an old school big. And honestly, Kenny Lofton Jr. is better offensively than Zach Edey, and he can't even stick in the NBA. He out killing G leagues for 50 points, 15 rebounds, so on and so forth. But he can't stick on the NBA roster for some of the same reasons that you guys just mentioned about Zach Edey. You also got Luka Garza, Kofi Cockburn couldn't even make it to the NBA. And they all dominated in college. So it's just one of those things where it's unfortunate that they
yeah.
were born in a generation where the big man has been devalued to the point where if they were playing in the 80s or 90s, they would be, top 5 picks or even
First
the
round
early
pick, right?
2000s.
But I don't even think that we can say the big man's being devalued. It's just that now you're having players that have the mix of size, strength, and mobility. So when you are just
It's
big,
more
it's when you're just big, you're not switchable. You like all you can do is basically rebound. And unfortunately, Zach Edey is a high IQ player. When you watch the way that he moves out there
Mhm.
with not having any athleticism, you cannot deny the basketball IQ that he has. But unfortunately, we're past a point where smart, physical big men, that doesn't mean that you make the NBA anymore. You have to be mobile. You have to be switchable. You have to at least be able to stretch the floor out. I would say at least to 12 to 15 feet. At least have that. Zach Edey has none of that. And
because
unfortunately, yeah, go ahead.
I would just say because I just throw people. I'm not even gonna throw big names at you. What you gonna think when he see a Valanciunas? He gonna have
Mm-hmm.
problems. What you think
Mm-hmm.
he gonna see when he have a Walker Kessler? He's going to
Mm-hmm.
have problems.
Or even when you
Hell,
see a Chet Holmgren.
Oh,
hell, Chet,
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
forget that. Alfred Shingun. Like, what
Sengun,
cook
right?
him? So
Vooch will cook him. Like it
Vooch
just
will
that's
cook him too.
it
As long
is
as he
what it
get more
is.
than 2 rebounds, I mean. But go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, but to wrap up, I think it's mainly it's crazy. The main people I'm looking at in the draft are all seniors. It's one of like you just said, Terrence Shannon out of Illinois. I'm also looking at Jadon Ledee. Is it Ledee? Out of San Diego State, 6'9" forward, 240. Think he's averaging like 24 and 10 in the tournament. Killing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Nice.
I like him. You mentioned the team at Clemson. You got PJ Hall out there, who's a senior, 6'10" guard, 238. You also got and of course, like I just said, Dalton Connect in Tennessee, who's a center a senior as well. He's probably one of my favorites out of it because not only is he a bucket, he's an actual NBA athletic type of guy. So and he has the smarts of a senior, and he's an instant impact player for any team that he goes into the league with. So those are just three players I've been looking at, not only for the Bulls, but just I feel like can be an instant impact player in the draft.
I want to throw this question out to you. I know we're trying to wrap up, but just one question.
Mhm.
What has this tournament done for you guys on Trey Alexander as an NBA prospect? Because I came into this saying at the guard position a little bit undersized. I know he likes getting shots up. I came into this thinking I don't necessarily see him working out. He's going to get drafted in the first round, make no mistake about it. But I can see him being one of those players that fizzle out. But now, in watching how he's kind of maneuvered through this tournament, I look at him now and say, "Hey, I don't know. Maybe there's enough there." He's stepped up more defensively, and I think this game when they do face off against Tennessee is going to tell a lot of that. But Alexander's shown a lot to me in this tournament where I didn't necessarily think and view him as being a player that can really crack an NBA rotation in year one right away.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like for Creighton, he's the go-to guy, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
when they need him down the stretch, he kind of reminds me of Kimba in that UConn stretch where he,
Mm,
put the ball in his hands. He's not afraid of the moment, and the only problem is, Kimba came into the league and caught fire for a little bit, but then injuries basically took him out of the league as quickly as he rose. His fall from grace was just as swift. So hopefully, health wouldn't become an issue at his size at 6'3", um under 200 pounds. That's the
yeah.
biggest problem for those types of guards coming into the league is can you stay healthy. But yeah, he's definitely put himself on the radar for maybe late first round, early second round pick.
Yeah, I feel like the further he goes in this tournament, the higher his stock will go because to me, yeah, the injury thing, but it's not necessarily a big thing because yeah, he athletic, but he don't really depend that much on his athleticism. So I just like, especially against that last games against Oregon, I was like, oh, he for real. And
Hmm.
the reason I know for real because Oregon plays real physical. We have a ton of athleticism around that. He was just slicing and dicing. But not only that, I think was driving up his stock is his decision making. He's pretty good
Yeah.
decision making in this thing. And 17 in the regular season of the NCAA, 17 points in college ain't nothing to sneeze at.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that's
nothing to
a
sneeze
fact.
up. So I think the further he go, especially if he mess around and beat Tennessee, or he gonna skyrocket.
Yeah, and especially at 6'3", almost 6'4", with a 6'10" wingspan. Like I said, just I don't know if it's just that, you're able to focus in on one, or maybe it's just because the tournament's stepping it up. But defensively, he's just shown me more than I ever thought I would see from him. So I think that could definitely help him crack a rotation.
And he definitely got an NBA body. 6'10", 6'4" to 6'3" with a 6'10". Somebody gonna be like, I could use that.
Them some long arms for sure.
He can tie shoes without bending down. But it's been another episode for NBA. So thank y'all. But before we go, just make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, comment. We want to hear what do y'all thinking about the tournament as well as the women's. Don't forget, we ain't leave the women's out. We got a video coming that soon. But this your boy Steve-O and NBA Central alongside with Haize and KF. And let's we'll be back when we feel like making another video.
Stop elbowing people, Caitlin.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.